Hi, I'm KS Garner, and you're listening to the Solo Nerdbird podcast. Today, I'll be speaking with R.W. Nunley, the creator and illustrator of the comic series CosmoNatayla, here to promote issue 1, currently on Kickstarter. Welcome, R.W.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for joining us here today. But outside my introduction, who is R.W. Nunley in his own words?
I've been working in arts and comics for a long time. I'm a career graphic designer, and I'm the lead 3D artist at the company that I work for. And I got started doing comic books around 2006 or so. And it got off to a really good start and working for some medium to large publishers. And in 2009, when the Great Recession came, like comics took a hit really hard, and I wound up stepping away for a long time. And raising a family, I raised my two boys, and but now they're grown. My youngest just turned 18 a couple of months ago, and so about a year ago, I started trying to get back into it because I got a lot more free time now.
Well, what is the CosmoNatayla comic series about, and what should readers expect for issue 1?
So what the first issue is about is it's about a Ukrainian-born Soviet-era cosmonaut who gets sent on a clandestine space mission using the Americans' lunar module mission as cover. They secretly launch her towards what the planet X that the Soviets had recently discovered. And she was supposed to arrive there after about 28 years, and claim the planet, for the Soviet motherland. But when she was supposed to arrive, which was 1994, by 1991, the Soviet Union had collapsed and there was nobody there to wake her up. So it's, even decades after that, she's finally woken up when an American spacecraft arrives at the same place. And she has no idea like what's gone on in the world or what current events look like. So what was the second part of that question?
Oh, no, it was just what CosmoNatayla is about and what should readers
Okay.
expect for issue 1.
So what readers should expect is this isn't like that synopsis might have sounded serious, but this book is not. It's very silly. It's a zany comedy, and if you like things like Airplane or Calvin and Hobbes Spaceman Spiff or like Golden Age sci-fi comics, like that's kind of who this book is for. There's some serious undertones and themes to it, but by and large, this is just a goofy comedy.
So could you just elaborate a little bit more on your creative process on CosmoNatayla as a whole, from just a thought in your head to working on it throughout, however many years you were working on it to now promoting it through Kickstarter?
So how this all started was, I took a long hiatus, away from drawing and away from comics, and I just focused on my job and my family. But when I started drawing again, which was only like last year, I revisited this old sketch that I found, and I started drawing it again. And I drew this astronaut who was like fighting 3 dinosaurs, and like as I was drawing it, the story just kind of started coming together in my mind, and it was just fun to think about. But at the time, I was working with a writer named Dean Page, who was I was helping him with his first Kickstarter, which was the return of Jake Sunrise. And he and I started talking about it, and it just kind of immediately blew up into he's like yeah, we're gonna do this 3-issue series because it's just too fun to not mess with. And we just kind of jumped right into it and got off to such a running start that like I never even finished that last drawing, that first drawing. You never finished it. It's just like to this day, it's just kind of staring at me, but. But here we are, like the first book it's entirely complete except for, like the very final edits. And, we're a week into the Kickstarter and it's going great.
Cool. Well, what have you noticed that's changed about CosmoNatayla that you weren't expecting or that you do expect to change now that issue 1 is complete? Like, did the art style change in any way? Did the storylines change? Maybe, you said you worked with Dean, but were there any other collaborators that you worked with that maybe didn't? Maybe, so yeah, is there any changes from when you started to now, or do you expect any from here on out for the other 2 issues?
I think we're like Dean and I are very dialed in, And we've got the script is largely blocked out already for the next two, and we even knew before doing the first one, we knew where the second and third stories were going to go. And it's a very deliberately open-ended story because we have a lot of ideas about what we could do with this character once this Planet X arc is finished. So, but as far as changing it, like through the course of it, I mean, like not so much. It was a very clear, like ahead of time for both of us, like what it was we were trying to set out to do. So,
yeah. So how was the process, I guess, collaborating with not only Dean, but you have, what is it, with Kimberly and what was the other
Hafid Ardi.
Fahid. Yeah. So I mean, how was it working with them? Like, how did you find them and how did you know they were the right people to work with?
So Hafid is he does the flats, which is the step right before the colors. And I was going to draw on colorless like all by myself, but it's a really time consuming to try to take on all that work, and I found out pretty quickly that I would really rather be working with the team. And Dean Page had been working with Hafid for a long time. He'd hired him from a number of projects, and so it seemed like a no-brainer to get him on board. And then we had to go look for a colorist, and we searched through a bunch of like community groups, and we wound up hooking up with her on a Facebook group. And when you put a call out for colorists, and you're paying for a colorist, you just get a flood, right? And everybody wants to work. And so we had for all these people that submitted to me and and emailed me and messaged me, for the people whose styles I thought matched the best, I offered about a dozen people like a test page to color. And with almost no instructions, it was just kind of like color this and let's see what kind of choices you make and whether it's going to jive with us or not. And unfortunately, there's only about 3 people actually returned the test page. And Kimberly's was by far the most unique. It really stood out the most, and she's been great to work with, and her colors are amazing. And people would just gush to me about them, and I love them, and so I'm really glad she's on board.
So I guess what aspect of making comics do you believe never gets easier, or you hope will as you continue to make them?
I think that for anybody who's ever like started to create their own comic or created their own comic, it's when you get started, you're kind of obsessed with the idea of having made the comic, and then you start working on it and you realize like just how much work there really is, and then you have this kind of stage where you're like, oh God, what am I doing? How am I ever going to get through all this? But you just kind of muddle through, and before you know it, you're almost done. And that part's amazing, but it is just an awful lot of work.
So what advice could you offer to other creators? It could be someone working in comics, it can be somebody even who wants to get into graphic design. Like you said, you worked as a graphic designer, working in 3D, what have you, like whatever it may be that you feel like you have advice on that you could offer to others that you wish someone would have told you when you first started in any of those fields.
Well, years ago when I got into it, a lot of people acted like this was some kind of super exclusive community, and there was a lot of gatekeeping going on. And so what surprised me the most was like once I started reaching out to and talking with people in the creator community, just how open and supportive people really are. And they're just quick to give you whatever advice to get you. They'll hook you up with their marketing guy, or everybody knows everybody. And it's an amazing community. So if you're trying to do it and you don't know what to do, just like reach out onto like subreddits or Facebook groups or whatever, into these independent comic creator communities, and just start talking to people. So, I mean, it's just an amazing group, but I couldn't say enough good things about
them. I'm not a comic creator myself, but I speak mostly with comic creators, and a lot of people know each other, and I've been warned away from certain groups or certain people, and I get recommended certain groups, certain people,
Uh,
and being like a writer myself, an author myself, I should say, a lot of rooms that I've gotten into and people that I've connected with is through the indie comic community.
mhm.
So yeah, it's small, but it's big at the same time, if that makes sense. I guess it's small because of indie, but
It's yeah, it's like a great big small town, you
yeah,
know. But I mean, that's not to say that there aren't like little groups of just toxic toads out there. We all know they're out there,
yeah.
but by and large, I mean, it's just been a great group of people to talk to. I mean, literally just about everybody that I've met's been awesome.
Yeah, me too. But outside of working on CosmoNatayla, how well do you find balance for your life, and how do you typically manage your mental well-being when you become stressed, frustrated, or overwhelmed?
Uh, well, I mean, it's making the comic by itself is an immense amount of work, and then running the campaign too is, I mean, it's a lot. We were like laughing at work today. My coworkers noticed that I've lost about 10 pounds over the last couple of months.
Oh, wow.
And and yeah, I mean, we were thinking about it just today. I was like, gosh, I really needed like maybe get some sleep and eat some food once in a while. And
Hmm.
you kind of like as an artist, you kind of have this idea anyway that if you're not working 22 hours a day, you're not doing enough. And so it's easy to forget that you need to take some time and take care of yourself. And so, I'm trying to make it a point now, just like at least 2 days a week, I just need to just take a vegetation day and sit in front of the TV for a while,
Hmm.
and use a little bit of self care that way.
Yeah, yeah. Well, is there anything else that you wanted to touch on about Cosmo Natalia that we may have missed as a whole? Maybe discuss rewards for potential baggers.
Yeah, we can talk about the rewards. It's my first campaign, so and it's also the first book, for this series. So I mean, unfortunately, there's not as many rewards as I would like, but I think that the ones that we have are pretty cool. We've made everybody that gets a physical tier in the campaign is going to get. We made a mission patch sticker, and like every bit major mission in space programs, they always have a mission patch. So we're making that available as a sticker that everybody gets. And there's also like an embroidered patch that you can buy as an add-on, and a challenge coin that I think is really cool. So
Yeah, I'm looking at it now, and you say this is your first campaign,
mhm.
so it's pretty much funded right now. So when you were first making the campaign and creating the goal, what went through your mind when you set that goal? I'm pretty sure it's to pay your collaborators, but pretty much pay them back or
Mhm.
pay them for their work and whatnot. And then, the printing and the marketing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I guess what else went into your mind when you created your page
So
and that goal?
being my first one, I resigned myself early to the idea that I was likely going to lose some money. And
Mhm.
so I decided I'm going to decide how much I could actually lose on project number one. And and I kept track very carefully. I actually paid in out of pocket up front for the colorist and the flatting, and that was most of the expense. And so when I set my goal, I thought, well, I'm gonna try to recover what I've already spent, and then the fulfillment costs, I'll eat that if I got to, but hopefully I make more.
Mhm.
And so I've been pretty lucky in that, like right now, the campaign's on a really good track that, I'll be able to cover those expenses and cover the cost of fulfillment, and maybe even get a head start on number two.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, for your first campaign, that's really remarkable.
Yeah, I was blown away at, the really positive response to it on the first day. And we got funded within 24 hours. I was just on cloud nine about it.
Oh, wow. Well, are you attending any cons this year as a vendor? And where can people find you online?
Well, as a vendor, I live in the Midwest, and there are not a lot of major cons out here. So, I'm in Wichita, Kansas, and so like we do have a couple local cons in the fall that I'm going to try to get to, and we're going to try to get out to Kansas City Planet Comic Con,
Mhm.
and I think that's in March. But in terms of getting out to the bigger cons like out on the East Coast, we might save that till next year. And my social media, I'm in the process of building, my own dedicated website, but it's not up and running just yet. But I'm pretty easy to find. All my stuff's public on Facebook, and you can find like Randy_Nunley at Instagram, and I post regular updates, tell all the art that I'm working on there.
Cool. All right, well, again, I want to thank R.W. Nunley, the creator and illustrator of the comic series CosmoNatayla, for joining us here today to promote issue 1, now live on Kickstarter. As R.W. just said, all of his socials and website, well, the website isn't listed right now, but it will be soon. But it is listed in this episode's details alongside the Kickstarter link for those who are interested in CosmoNatayla issue 1. Again, I'm KS Garner, and you've been listening to the Solo Nerd Bird podcast. Thank you.